Spoiler alert, the following podcast includes discussions on film that may potentially, intentionally or inadvertently, reveal plot twists, character traits, story details, up to and including endings that might otherwise be considered spoilers. Proceed at your own risk.
You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Sounds like some bad movie.
Oh, yeah. All right, everybody.
Something wrong?
No, we're ready to rock and roll, baby.
Oh, you sounded a little depressed there. I was like, okay.
Depressed?
Yeah.
No.
I don't know. Up the energy, maybe. I don't know.
All right, everybody! You ready to rock and roll? You wanted the best, you got the best! Kiss!
And I'm Scott.
Yo.
And we're reviewing The Triangle of Sadness. Getting out the Oscar best nominees before the Academy dishes them out on TV.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing, too. So AMC every year, AMC does Oscar films that you can go and see when they're nominated. So they have all the best pictures. They have every single film. You can watch it in an AMC theater except for All Quiet on the Western Front. It's very awkward. I don't know why. And I know you can watch it on Netflix, and it did go theatrical for the required time so that it could be nominated. They have everything else but that film. Now, with the fact that they're showing 9 movies and that the average length, aside from women talking, is a minimum of 2 hours and 10 minutes, and some of them are close to 3 hours, they have to do it over 2 days with breaks.
Fuck that.
Yeah, they have to do it over 2 days with breaks. Because if they don't, you would be in a movie theater for literally 16 to 20 hours, something like that. It's crazy.
No.
It's absolutely bonkers.
I wouldn't do that at home. Why would I do that in a room full of people?
Right?
Crazy.
And literally, you can watch every single one of these movies with the exception of Avatar, and I believe Women Talking, but that is going digital soon.
Okay.
So you can watch everything.
So we're reviewing Triangle of Sadness. This is one of the few films on the Oscar list that I had seen before the Oscar nominations were announced.
Right.
And I love this film.
Hold that thought. So Mara's home, so I can close the door. So the cat can stop bothering me. The children can stop making noise. So let me go close the door. Give me half a second here.
All right. Yeah, Triangle of Sadness was just on my radar because I caught the trailer somewhere. I just fell in love with the film, and it really it blew my mind on some levels. I really just loved what the director did, and the fact that he even did it. I mean, I'm not gonna say it's a courageous film, but I mean, I just sometimes you take a gamble when you make something that's kind of.
Both took showers already.
I don't know how you even describe this film. Jesus, Joey, what are you doing? I gotta carry everything here. Son of a bitch.
So I get, are the boys in bed yet? I'm like, I don't know. I'm doing a goddamn podcast. I mean, I didn't say it like that. I'm like, I don't know. Bitch, I'm doing a fucking podcast that I make no money for.
I forgot the name of the film. Okay.
It's like, I'm not the one that went out.
All right, so Triangle Sadness was written and directed by Ruben Ostlund. Ostlund?
It's got umlauts in his name, I think.
Yeah, so I think it's Ostlund then? Or is that Ostlund?
I
don't know.
Ostlund. Yeah, I want to say it's Ostlund.
All right, if we come across a pronunciation, we'll change that.
It doesn't matter.
After I saw this film, I saw it because I saw the trailer, and after I saw this film, I went back and watched his earlier film, The Square.
I saw The Square.
With it.
I saw The Square.
What?
I saw The Square.
Oh, you did?
I did. Yes.
The one with the museum and stuff.
The one with the museum. It's got what's her face? Moss. She was in Mad Men. What the hell is it? Something Moss. She was in The Invisible Man. She was in that. Yeah, saw that one.
Yeah,
pretty good.
I didn't like it as much as Triangle Sadness, but you definitely see like his and Force Majeure. I've seen as well.
I haven't seen
the other
that.
film he did.
Well, he's an eccentric director.
Yes.
Yeah. It's he's like one part art house, one part, I don't want to say Hollywood movie, but so I judge a film like Triangle of Sadness by, is my wife going to like this? And she walked in about halfway because I knew I had to watch it because we were reviewing it. But she walked in halfway and she actually sat down and watched the rest of the film and actually really enjoyed it. Because even though he's an eccentric director, art house, it never really goes so far in that direction that it would, quote unquote, bore you.
Well,
the way a lot of art house films can do.
Let me do something. Let me say something that you won't hear most people that review films say because it's like a dirty little secret. Force Majeure, I did not care for.
What was that one? What was that one about?
What?
What was it about?
Force Majeure was remade in America with Will Ferrell, and it's that film where there's an avalanche while they're on vacation, and he grabs his phone and runs, and like leaves his family behind. It like fucks up the whole vacation.
Is it a comedy?
It's what you would call a boring dark comedy, I would say.
Okay.
At least now I have not seen the American version. I have it. I still can't bring myself to watch it because Force Majeure was a okay film, but I just didn't feel it went anywhere. I thought it just like with that kind of setup, I was waiting it to go somewhere with it, and I really felt it just lingered on it through the whole film. And I didn't care for it. But then with The Square, I thought it did a bit better, and it threw curves into it. And you can definitely see the path he's taking with this kind of narrative now with Triangle Sadness. Do you want to give the description of the plot, or
really, if you break it down as simple as possible, it's about privilege and what?
No. Back up.
What?
That's theme. That's like I'm talking about like a plot synopsis.
Oh, so
start off with that.
I got to pull up names because I don't remember.
All right. I mean,
Carl and Yaya, they're basically both models. They're young influencers, which I hate. Well, she is at least. I hate that fucking word, by the way.
Dude, millions of dollars, millions upon millions of dollars.
Yes, I know. I'm not jealous. I just want to point that out. That's not what it is. Preaching to the choir. It's not what it is.
Preaching to the choir. Well, this film pretty much takes the same stance. So we're all on the same
kind of. So they're influencers. They're pretty. They're models. They get free trips. They have all of these things that you get for being in that kind of lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And they end up on this luxury yacht with a lot of other people who are older, privileged, rich, kind of like. There's a scene in the movie when they're on this boat where it's the whole don't say no. If they ask you to do something, you say yes, and then maybe you get a big tip at the end. there's that scene. So, and that really sets up how privileged these people are. So,
right. So it's like some of the they give us kind of an amalgam of wealth hoarders, if
Right.
you will. You've got the elderly couple who's managed to make much of their lives by selling landmines,
grenades,
and
landmines,
and other things like that. Just merchants of death. Your typical nice elderly merchants of death. Then you've got the Russian oligarch with his wife and his mistress.
Yeah, I thought that was interesting.
Then you got the .com guy who made his own company and sold it. So now he's a millionaire, just trying to fit. He's like the awkward nouveau riche. Just like, hey, I'll buy you watches if you get handy me. Just flat out like bribing the chicks.
Right.
And am I leaving anybody out, like the big ones?
There's the one woman that she's a stroke victim, and she's wheelchair bound. And she's with her husband, who he does everything for her.
Right. Then you got the flat out senile couple.
The one woman that kept saying to clean the sails.
Clean the sails. Yes.
Right.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, and he's like, we don't have sales. It was in the magazine that you had sales. It's like, okay, we're going to get right on that. We're going to clean those sales. It's easier to just say, yes, ma'am.
So one thing leads to another.
And then you have the crew. The crew is introduced at different times.
Right. So, I mean, I want to get into the whole layer structure of that, but just to sum up the rest of the film, one thing leads to another. The boats, everything goes crazy on the boat. Then it's taken over by pirates, and a small handful of survivors make it to an island where they end up playing Lord of the Flies for the rest of the film.
Yeah, that's the third act.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's an interesting third act because I saw like a TV spot, like a 15-second TV spot. I had no idea where this movie was going to go or anything, and I'm so happy that I went in blind.
Oh, now let's talk about just the opening of the film. The whole beginning of the film for at first seems like, oh, this is going to be boring as shit, but the film really sets up the power dynamic that we explore all throughout the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it all comes down to the fact that he gets the bill, even though she said she'd get it last time, and he starts confronting her on all these games she plays to avoid paying bills and stuff. And so they get into this really serious conversation where she openly admits that she manipulates and uses her power as a attractive woman to manipulate people like that to make sure that she's okay, because she doesn't trust anybody else to protect her. She's out for her own.
Right.
But at the same time, it's also out of fear, knowing that she's in a rare position of having that power to begin with.
Right, exactly. So when he confronts her, he kind of flies off the handle. I actually watched a featurette on the making of this film where it showed like little bits and pieces, and they actually showed and talked about that scene and what it meant and why he was acting the way he was and why she was doing what she was doing, and you nailed it because they go into a few of the things that you actually just talked about.
Now, I think the important thing, too, is that she is aware of the power she has, and she is aware of how she's using it.
Yes.
Now, this young man that she's with, Carl, he is not aware of his power in his place, and he doesn't understand how to use it. This comes to light on the yacht when he gets a little jealous about not dock worker, boat. What do you say? Deckhand. Deckhand. That's the word. That's the ticket. He gets jealous of a bare-chested deckhand his Yaya keeps looking at. So he mentions something about it, and then next thing you know, he's all upset because they fire him right away.
Yeah, well, Yaya fully admits that she thought he was quote-unquote hot.
Right,
so
and that's why
he didn't know how. You're right. He did not know how to handle it. So he went to them and said, "Hey, just so you know, one of your deckhands is not wearing a shirt," and they did fire him. And hindsight's always 20/20, right? That guy, best decision that ever happened for that guy.
Yeah, right. And I think Carl, I mean, the whole film is really follows Carl as he learns, is exposed to and learns about these power structures as we go through the film. Because as you mentioned, and when once we get to the boat, they're really like at the low end of the power structure. Like, and then they got an invite because she got so many hits on her thing. She's not like an actual, she's a tycoon, selling arms to foreign countries or selling shit.
Yeah,
she has no product, literally, and so it's like that weird.
She's pretty. That's she's pretty.
Right. So she's actually in a world where like her power as an attractive woman is a commodity in itself.
Right. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see them where they're at the table with the Russian guy who's like, oh, I sell shit. And then
I liked him. I liked his character, by the way,
he's
lot.
a great character. Oh
yeah.
I could have watched the movie if the rest of the film was him and Woody Harrelson locked in the cabin.
Black or red. I'm like, why have I never played that as a drinking game? You would get hammered so fast.
All right, let's get it out of the way. Woody Harrelson is a fucking genius in this film. When the sales part happens, which was even in the trailer, so it's not like new.
Right.
When the woman's talking to him and you get the full length of it, and it's like the awkwardness of it, and then when he says, "Then you know what? We'll make sure that we clean those sales," and he winks.
Yeah.
And I was like, that wink just like that unsettles that woman so much. And I love that shot, and that's the thumbnail I'm using for YouTube because, God, that was like everything was in that, and I love this. I wanted to use the scene earlier. Once he's finally dressed, because they spend the whole first 2 days of the cruise trying to get him out of his cabin. He's a drunken mess.
Oh my God! And then, of course, so what leads up to the picture that's on the screen in the background? What was her name again?
Vera.
She's puking up a storm. What leads to that? It's actually her fault. Because,
dude, you stole my thunder.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. I'm glad you did. I'm fucking glad you did because I watched like half a dozen YouTube videos. I'm like, how come no one's talking about this? This seems like an integral part of the film.
Really?
So I'm glad that you caught right onto it too.
Oh,
Thank you.
Fuck yeah, man! It is absolutely 100% her fucking fault.
Please continue.
So earlier in the film, like I was saying, the one woman, what the hell is her name? Which here.
One?
Paula. Vicky Berlin is her real name, but Paula, she's the one that says, "Do not say no. Always say yes."
Oh, the head.
Yeah.
She's the head
okay.
of the crew.
So Vera, she goes to one of the girls and says, "I would like you to be me, and I will be you. Get in the pool or in the jacuzzi." And she's like, "Nope, I'm good." And she's like, "No." And she's like, yes. And then it goes on for a couple of minutes and it gets uncomfortable.
Well, because then she actually just uses Vera uses her power and says, "Listen, aren't you supposed to do everything I say?"
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what leads to that after that is she makes everyone on the boat that works there go on the slide for like their entertainment. It's like, you're going to have fun. And then they go downstairs and they go to the chef. He's like, "All this food's going to go bad." And they're serving octopus. And next thing you know, they're all sliding into the ocean and nothing's getting done. No food is being cooked. All the stuff is down there. Eventually they do cook it, but it's been left out too long. It's been left way too fucking long. And so now fast forward after them doing God knows how long that they were forced to do that for. They are now going to the captain's dinner. Now, they keep trying to nail down Woody Harrelson for this captain's dinner. And he's like, "We'll do it Thursday." They're like, No. Any day but Thursday. We're going to have horrible weather on Thursday. And he's like, "Thursday, can't do it any other day." Because he's an alcoholic and he's just locking himself in his room. So fast forward to Thursday, which is the day they do the sliding, and the food is going bad, and they're serving it anyway. So fast forward, now the boat's rocking back and forth. They're starting to serve all this food. And at one point, when he's at the captain's table, he gets a cheeseburger and fries, which is like, man, I fucking love that he gets a cheeseburger and fries.
That was funny enough, but then we just turns to the guy. That's the guy like trying to buy chicks with watches.
Yeah.
Like the .com guy. He turns to him just like, I'm not into fine dining.
Yeah. But what you see, and I don't know if everyone noticed it, I noticed it, on his plate when they serve him his food, there is a bug crawling on his plate.
Oh, I did not see that.
There is absolutely a bug crawling on his plate, and I'm like, all the food is fucking bad. That's what tipped me off. I'm like, they mention it, and I'm like, oh shit. They're all going to get fucking seasick from the boat rocking, plus they all have food poisoning.
I got to say, too, the other moment at the beginning, just before they start bringing people in, when Woody's standing there with his first mate, they hand him the champagne glass, and he sips it, and he's like gives it a sour look and glances at the guy like, what the fuck is this? It's like, so it's just every little move that Woody Harrelson made just like fucking blew me away in this film. I really wish he was. I understand why he's not in the rest of the film 100%, but God,
Yeah.
I wish there was more of him.
Oh yeah, it wasn't Johnny Walker Black, so
Yeah. So and then all this is it leads to chaos, and then the said pirates show up and start blowing shit up, and that's when we get escorted to the island for the Lord of the Flies stuff.
Yep.
Now, the reason I was surprised when no one brought up Vera is because I feel like it's such an important message the film is trying to make. It takes a whole segment of the fucking film to do it. You know, it's like an hour. The whole point is, like you said, we have the layers here. We have the you have the elites that are like. You have the elites, the rich people, the people with all the power.
Exactly.
Then you have like the captain who has like that superficial power, he like a figurehead. Then you have all the direct attendees. These are all the middle managements. These are all the people getting towels for them, making all the pretty people dressed up to make them feel good. And then below that are the grunts that are actually doing the real work, the mechanics, the chefs, the maids, all those people. You've got your clear distinction. So this boat, it's been done several times before. It's not an original idea, but the boat becomes a microcosm of society, or in this case, like capitalist society, or just society's power structure in general.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. Think of the yacht as just name it anything you want. Exactly. Just a country, an island. Like the yacht is almost like an island before they get to the island. It's because it's kind of controlled chaos on the yacht.
So we've isolated a small representation of society right here on the boat. So, and we see the people that we have people that earn their money through noble ways, through regular ways, through boring ways, through evil ways. And we understand, so there's all this different kind of power, all this kind of different accumulation of wealth. They're not all evil. Some of them are indifferent. It's a realistic portrayal.
Yeah.
But so they're all part of the structure. I mean, the Russian guy brought his fucking
mistress.
Like they're sitting at the table. I mean, it's just like the wife's rolling her eyes. Like, so Vera, and that's Vera's husband.
Mm-hmm.
So Vera is a complicit part of this structure. You can by the fact that she allows her husband to bring the mistress along on vacation. It's an acceptance of the power that she's under that allows her to have the power she has. So she's a complicit part of it. So at one point where she's in the hot tub, and she's seeing, and she's so aware of the dichotomy of the power structure because she's living that mistress life part of it. So in a part, you can say it's guilt. I like to say it's like a human kindness. She actually tries to do something nice, something good, something above the structure. She breaks the structure. It's a very delicate structure that's built on this, and she just fucking upends it. She just says, fuck it, you know what? why don't you be me? And just everything falls the fuck apart.
Yeah, no.
She pulled the fucking keystone, linchpin, whatever you want to call it. Everything came tumbling down after that. And you know, it didn't even occur to me at first. When it occurred to me as later, where we see her covered in feces, sliding back and forth across her bathroom.
When all that happens and they start playing the metal music, I was like, this is fucking beautiful.
But at that moment, I felt really bad for her, and all of a sudden, it clicked. And was like, wait, but it's her fault. It's like, see, this is really, you know, it's such a hit. The film just destroys her in that. I mean, everybody gets shit on or vomited on or whatever, but she gets the worst of it, and it's
karma, bitch.
Yeah, thank you. Yes. So I don't know why people blew over that, because everybody focuses on the island. Everybody talks like, oh, this is all the build to the island. It's like, no, but this explains to us why it's so hard to break these structures.
Yeah.
And then the island, when suddenly the power shifts, obviously that's what we're all interested in, because that's the long story. When all of a sudden the maid's like, I decide who gets food, and by the way, who's gonna fuck me tonight?
Oh my God, when they went that way, I was like. Well, first of all, I knew the second that she wanted him to go into the lifeboat with her, I'm like, she wants to get banged. Because she wants to get banged by a hot dude, because she sees him walking around this yacht all the time.
You see her at the very beginning of the film. She's cleaning out their toilets, scrubbing their floors. And
yes.
shit. You know, she's just menial.
As a matter of fact, Paula, she says that she is the toilet maid. Mm-hmm. Was that her official title? Abigail was her name.
I mean, she had a name. That wasn't. But
Abigail was her name, but her title on the boat was toilet maid or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, again, the most menial. Again, that's why shit. You know, when the shit came up too, that's like, all right, you know.
I love it when she catches the octopus. She goes, I got one. Oh, you got one. That's awesome. Anyone know how to clean this? No.
No.
Anyone know how to cook this? No.
Now, and that brings up a good point. At no point in the film is any of this really subtle.
No.
I get like there was really nothing subtle about that scene. Once that scene came, I said, okay, I know where the rest of this film's going. I mean, in general.
Well, I think
she's the only one that knows how to do anything.
Well, yeah, and what I think the director was really trying to get across was they're all rich, they're all overprivileged. None of them have any real life skills. Mm-hmm. So if, even outside of being stranded on an island, if they were just on the mainland, if their money was taken away, let's say they're broke in some way, they wouldn't be able to go out and survive, even in regular society. That's what I think it was trying to push that point across.
Right, because they had the power to have other people do that stuff for them.
Exactly.
Right, so when that power was taken away from them by pirates, you know, that's what's left. I mean, you know, again, it's not a subtle story setup. It's actually a little bit lazy if you think about it. If you think about it from a straight narrative sense, if this was like a serious, like, you know, CBS Tuesday night movie, you know, how does society continue? But this is a tongue-in-cheek dark comedy exploring power, so you can give it a pass on that. I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining. Not complaining at all.
Yeah. So that's why I just don't understand why everybody kind of blew over Vera. I thought I was like, why is no one talking about Vera?
Dude,
you know, she's the most tragic character. And then when her husband finds her body washed up on shore and cries while he takes her jewelry off.
Yeah, I know.
Just fuck! Why did you do this to me, Phil? This is horrible. I didn't cry, but I mean, like, oh, this is not good.
This is not good at all.
and it just shows. I mean, it shows. It also shows that like this seeking power isn't all greed, because once you get to the island, seeking power is how you're going to survive. And then I mean, we go full circle with Carl. Carl felt like he was being exploited by his girlfriend. Now he's openly being exploited and understands it, and is going. You know, so
he's actually enjoying it. He's actually
because he got power.
Yeah, but he's also infatuated. Might I even say in love with Abigail?
Well, yeah.
It starts off kind of awkward and weird.
Well, yeah, kind of.
No, he's enjoying being with her.
But but it's also but again, it's the power structure on top of that. So it's not like, I mean, now let's talk about the important part.
All right.
Where I'm a little annoyed at what the common consensus is. The end of the film. At the end of the film, a lot of stuff happens on the island. There's no reason to go in great detail about it. It's your typical, again, microcosm society.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when people break rules? Who's going to listen to who? Who's in charge? I'm the captain now. That kind of shit. So, but the big crux is at the end. Abigail, that's the
maid.
Maid, right?
Yeah.
Abigail and Yaya go off together. Yaya's trying to gain some power back, I think, because she's obviously upset that Abigail's been banging her boyfriend.
Right. But she's also trying to find a way off the island, and she's trying to explore it a bit.
Well, right, but the pretense of having Abigail go along is like kind of trying to mend this thing between them, I think.
Well, Abigail,
or at least manipulate her.
All right. So leading up to that scene, Yaya is going to go explore the island to try and see if she can see something, if maybe there's a mainland, whatever. She's going to go. She's going to go alone. Abigail tells her that, no, don't go alone. I'll come with you. She go in pairs.
Oh,
it's safer.
Sorry.
What?
Thanks for correcting me on that.
And what leads to that is Carl and Abigail are in the lifeboat because that's where they're spending their nights. And they have a conversation about maybe we should just tell everyone that we're together. Mm-hmm. And Carl doesn't avoid that. He's the one that actually brings it up. And she's the one that says, no, let's maybe leave everything alone. He wants it out in the open because I feel that he is enjoying being with her, even though it started off with a power, thing, and it's turned into something different.
I don't think it's about that as much as about he doesn't like the fact that he's a dirty secret.
Well, that is a part of it too.
Out in the open. He doesn't want to go around like people asking him, pretending that nothing's happening. He's like, listen, he wants to expose the transactional nature of the relationship. So listen, this is what's happening. I'm banging her, she's giving me shit. But that's not how the system works.
No,
and you can't do that because then when you expose your own exploitation, it kind of just like sours it. I don't know how to explain it any better than that. I'm a little drunk.
So Abigail and Yaya, they start exploring the island. And
you get my point.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
They start exploring the island, and Yaya finds what turns out to be a luxury hotel on the other side. There's an elevator that actually, I guess, either goes down or up. I don't know. But I'm
assuming down.
Yeah, an area. Yeah, probably down because of the rocks. An area where people can lounge out. They can go look at the ocean and
some deck chairs out facing the shore.
Right. And what was interesting about that scene is when they pan over and she goes, "Oh, look, it's a luxury hotel." But because of the way the chairs and everything were laid out, for a nanosecond, I'm like, is that just pieces of the boat? And then I was like, oh, no, wait, duh, it's an elevator. I just thought she was kind of making a joke. Oh, look, it's a luxury hotel, when it was just like garbage everywhere. But it was a nanosecond that I was like, oh, no, that's a hotel.
Fair enough.
But for a nanosecond, I'm like, oh, shit, is that just... Oh, wait, no, it's fine.
All right, so let's set the scene.
Let's set it up.
They're both ecstatic that they found society, fucking
Yaya's
society.
Ecstatic. Abigail is
civilization
not.
is what I'm looking for. They found civilization. Well, they're initially happy. Okay, so then when they ring for the elevator to come up, Abigail is now nervous. She's I got to go take a pee, and then Yaya sits with her back to Abigail, facing the shore or whatever, with her legs spread out, like she's on the yacht, like she's back in an area. She's actually has a pose like she has power now.
Right.
While Abigail's in the back pretending to pee, and instead of finding a nice big rock and crying, Yaya starts saying over her shoulder without looking back about, hey, maybe you can come work for me. We can get a job or something.
Yeah, let me try and help you out. You can work for me.
Right.
As soon as she said that, I'm like, oh, you idiot.
So obviously, Abigail is concerned about the shift of power going back. It's an irrational, and her grabbing the brick to kill Yaya is obviously an irrational response because it's not like that's going to keep everything the way it is. They're actually going to see that when they come up in the, eventually someone's going to come up in the elevator.
Right, and the elevator does open up at some point.
Well, yeah.
It opens up and it's empty, but
right before they go down, she had to take a pee. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said they pushed the button. So you have that moment where she's saying that, oh, maybe I'll help you out. You come work for me. I just want to help you. And then they show Abigail with the rock and they show her face, and then it cuts to black and you hear a thud. No, sorry. I'll correct that in a second. But what's your opinion on whether or not she hit her with the rock?
So, what I felt that the ending was, is it's a psychological look at yourself. Like, it's open-ended for a reason. Like, if you were Abigail or you were Yaya, what do you do? Mm-hmm. If you're Abigail,
right,
do you kill Yaya or do you not kill Yaya? If you're Yaya, do you try and become a better person? Do you mean what you're saying about maybe I'll help you, maybe you can come work for me? Or is that just shallow and you're just already going back to the way things were, and possibly you might even be worse because now you're thinking of other things like how can I benefit from being stranded on this island?
Right. I've seen a lot of people that talk about their take on how the film ends based on the fact that Yaya has clearly defined how she uses manipulation to protect herself, and that a lot of people said she obviously is trying to manipulate the situation here. And she's going for power, so she's not sincere in what she's saying. And I feel that's reasonable, although I would say I feel like she would still follow up on. I mean, there's a chance she might follow up on it whether or not she was just manipulating. I mean, you manipulate people into your power, but obviously Abigail doesn't want to be under anybody's power anymore. She's tasted that glory of being at the top of the fucking chain.
Yeah, she doesn't want to go back to being the toilet maid.
All of that is fucking moot as far as I'm concerned, because the exact thing that happens on that film, and I rewound it 2 or 3 times at the end because I wanted to make sure, what happens is the shot is you show Abigail with the rock.
Right.
The camera is showing Yaya's back of her head. You hear a thump, and then the screen goes black. It doesn't go black at the moment of the thump. There's a thump. There is a realistic gap of maybe a second or two where you still see her head, and then it goes black. There is no way she fucking hit her unless the director is lying to us with a fake sound, which I don't know why you would do that. So I don't care what the fucking actress says, or what the director or writer says, anybody. The way you filmed it, there is no fucking way that she got hit with that rock.
You're thinking the thud is just her dropping the rock.
Yes, there's nothing else it could be. And if it's the sound of the rock hitting her head, then how did it happen while I'm still looking at her head? Yeah. No. It's just from if the ending was supposed to be very vague and open-ended, you wouldn't do that. I don't think, or you shouldn't do that. So I have no other opinion. 100%, she didn't hit her with a rock. I'm not even saying it's right or wrong. That's just what happened.
No, I don't disagree with that at all. But
I hate that shit.
I do feel that it is in large part, even before you hear the thud, it's like, what would you do?
No, you're right. That is right. But I'm saying the film actually does show us what happened. So that debate I'm tired of hearing because it's ridiculous.
Well, because then it cuts to Carl, who's running like as fast as he can.
Right.
And he's like getting cut on his face because he's not running slowly through these like sticker bushes and all that stuff. So like you see that. And I believe what they're doing with that is he doesn't know, he just knows he needs to get to them as quick as possible, and in the process he doesn't care how he ends up looking at the end of that. He doesn't care how he is perceived, because if he was, he wouldn't be running so fast through these sticker bushes, because what I think the director is trying to convey is how he's getting cut up so bad, specifically on his face. And that's, I believe that is for a reason, and I believe that is not an accident.
I feel like it's a bit of a stretch, to be honest.
Well, why else would he go through great lengths to show him getting cut on his face so bad?
Well, I don't think the great lengths were specifically to show him having cuts on his face. I think the intent was to go to great lengths to show him running hurriedly through the jungle, desperately trying to get to the assumption is Yaya and Abigail.
But you have to understand, he's a male model in the beginning of the film.
No, I understand what you're saying. I feel like it's a minute detail. That's all.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I really do think that even in some small way, being the male model as that he is in the beginning of the film, where he is looked at and seen as beautiful and all of that, and at the end of the film, he doesn't care about that. He just cares about getting to where he needs to be, and it doesn't matter if he is getting cut up or quote-unquote uglifying himself to do so.
I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think it's a valid criticism. What I do think is I think you're seeing I think you're missing the forest for the trees, if I got the phrase right. That is a good detail to point out, but I don't think that's the main focus of the scene. And actually, everybody talks about how the rock thing is ambiguous. And I don't think that the rock thing is ambiguous at all. I know what I saw. What's ambiguous is why Carl is running, and that's what a lot of people debated about. Some people I've seen have said, "Oh, he must be running because he heard Abigail, Yaya scream." It's like, well, then I'm not going to make that assumption because because you didn't hear anything. So this is something where this is the ambiguous ending, not whether or not Yaya's dead, but why is Carl in such a hurry? What's he motivated by? And I feel like it's like, what's he motivated by? Is he motivated by his love of Yaya? Is he motivated by Abigail? Or is he just concerned? Concerned that something bad's going to happen? Because he seems like a decent guy.
It could be, and if they go through those kind of lens to say, oh, maybe he heard Yaya scream, he could have also heard Yaya screaming Abigail's name because she's like, Abigail, Abigail, but she kept saying it over and over. Come see. He could have heard that.
Helicopter.
Like, could have been anything.
You could have heard the smoke monster.
We
don't know because all we see is him running frantically through the forest. We're just assuming he's running towards Yaya and Abigail. I don't think he screams anybody's name. He just runs, right?
He just runs.
Yeah, he doesn't say Yaya or anybody. He just hurriedly, you can tell, very, very concerned, in a hurry, running through the jungle. That's the ambiguous part. We don't even know why he's trying to do it. And I'm not sure, honestly, I don't have an answer for why that's important for the ending. I just know that that's the ambiguous part, not the rock.
Yeah, no, I agreed.
Yeah.
Now, what's interesting to me, so after I saw the film and after I enjoyed it so much, I started looking up some of the actors, what they've done. The girl that plays Yaya, do you know she died, right? Her name is her real name is Charlie Dean. She died. She was only 32 years old. She died August. What? Yes, it does. So she died August 29th, 2022, and this movie came out, I think it only came out a little time before or a little time after. Let's see if I can find out when it came out. It came out in France.
Bacterial sepsis.
So when they did an autopsy, so she got into a really bad car accident a few years earlier, and she had her
2008.
She had her spleen removed, and because of that, they said that she was always, or anyone that has their spleen removed, is higher risk for things like sepsis and things like bacterial infections and whatnot. And they said that her symptoms were pretty light when she went in, and then her body just shut down, and then she ended up dying from that.
Ooh.
It's fucking crazy, because the movie comes out May of 2022, then June, then July, and then August she dies. It's absolutely nuts. And given how young she was, the fact that they had to remove her spleen, and that's ultimately what ended up contributing to her, getting sick.
Thanks for bringing the room down.
I'm sorry. But, I had to bring it up because her character is excellent in the film, and
All right,
they were saying that she was, I think she's South American, like Charlize Theron.
Oh, yeah, South Africa. Yeah.
South American, South Africa. Yes, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yes, I know you know.
I'm gonna switch gears.
Yeah, please.
You're getting too depressing.
I'm sorry.
All right, I want to point. The other thing I loved about Woody Harrelson's character. I think this is the last big thing I have to say about the film because I know we're running long.
Yeah.
Woody Harrelson, the Russian and Woody Harrelson, though it's a great pairing, and it's I love it.
Well, their whole interaction when they're drunken and they're in the hull or the front end of the boat.
Yeah.
And
cabin.
They have the cabin, and they got the microphone, and he's talking about how his country killed John F. Kennedy and Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Robert Kennedy, and that whole scene is brilliant.
Yeah. Well, it's not even. It's interwoven amongst all the other chaos going on, and it takes it. It's a lengthy back and forth between the two. I lost my fucking thing here.
You were talking about Woody Harrelson being amazing.
I know, and you cut me off, so I'm trying to catch up where I was.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you forgot what you were going to say.
I did now because you cut me off. That was what I was trying to get to.
Whoops.
No, the actor, Zlatko Buric, that plays Dimitri. It was Dimitri, and then Woody Harrelson is just the head captain. You never get a name.
Just the captain.
What I love. So between the two of them, you have the Russian oligarch. So this guy is a capitalist, communist, or he's a communist capitalist, and then the captain is a capitalist communist.
Yeah.
So they're both. So it shows like that. Like it shows people in the power structure where they have the power, and yet they're still not. They're not happy with the structure. They're part of it, and they reap the benefits of it. But at the same time, they realize that it's flawed, and that they're both flawed. I mean, and it's a way to point out that it's not really about like which system is better, because all these systems work under this same kind of power structure. And so these characters are like total opposites, but at the same time, totally get one another.
Right.
And it really just helps you. Again, it's a real focus of the film, and I think that gets more attention than Vera.
It does, yeah. Did Woody Harrelson get? We should talk about the nominees.
Yeah.
We're running late.
I went a little long on this. I apologize.
That's okay.
I'm very passionate about this film.
This is a great fucking movie. I love this film.
Luckily, it's only up for 3 nominees. Or awards. Fucking yeah, we got to wrap up. It's up for best original screenplay, best director, and best picture.
So let's look at screenplay first. It's up against The Banshees of Inisherin, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fabelmans, Tar, and Triangle of Sadness. I
could have paired Triangle of Sadness with Tar as well.
You could have.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you know what the perfect pairing for this movie would have been had it been nominated for Best Picture, which, might I say, should have been nominated for Best Picture? The Menu.
I was just thinking that. I was looking for the thumbnail, and I got a couple of shots of the dinner scene, and I remember thinking, yeah, this is kind of like The Menu. Yeah.
Mara and I watched it last weekend, and we both loved it. The Menu.
I like having a heads up. I like being one step ahead of my son. Like a couple of nights ago, he walks in and goes like, Scott, yeah, The Menu. You heard of it? It's like, I've seen it. I said, really? What'd you think? Great. Yeah. It's like, so, he always thinks he's going to recommend me films. So it's like, no, I'm the one.
Oh, my God. I just had that the other night. So my oldest son, he's like, he goes, okay, you ever hear of Bruce Willis? I'm like, dude, don't do this. Like, just stop doing this. And he's like, well, wait a minute. I was like, yes, of course. And then he starts naming off other actors. I'm like, I know all of them. He goes, I'm going to get to one you don't know. And then he's like, okay, Al Pacino. I'm like, stop it. Please stop. And then he starts rattling off a couple of names of people who do TV shows. I'm like, I don't do TV shows. I'm like, you can name TV show actors all the live long day. And it's like, okay, you stumped me on TV show actors. I don't do TV shows.
That's the light beer of entertainment. No,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
I mean, the quote unquote TV that I do is, like Breaking Bad or The Sopranos or shit like that. Anyway, but I think it's funny that you mentioned that. As far as original screenplay, yeah, Al Pacino, stop it. The original screenplay, I think I'm going Everything Everywhere All at Once or The Banshees of Inisherin. As much as I love this film, I don't think it'll win.
It's a dark horse. It's really deserving of it, but there's so much good stuff.
It is. I don't think it wins. Directing, we have Martin McDonagh for Banshees of Inisherin, the Daniels for Everything Everywhere All at Once, Spielberg for The Fabelmans, Todd Field for Tar, and Ruben Ostlund for Triangle of Sadness. Again, I think Daniels walks away with Everything Everywhere All at Once. And then, of course, Best Picture.
I will shit a gold brick sideways if Triangle of Sadness wins Best Picture.
Yeah. I agreed. Let's put it this way. I think it has a better chance of winning Best Picture than movies like Avatar and Elvis. And maybe Women Talking. I think it has a better shot than most films, but again,
there's some stiff competition.
I think Everything Everywhere is the favorite. I think
hope so.
Banshees of Inisherin is also up there, and honestly, I think All Quiet on the Western Front has a better shot. To be honest, it's just a well-made movie. So those are the three nominees.
If not another war film, please no.
It's not going to win.
Is not
it's
the time
winning.
for
It's
that
going to
shit.
win Best International Feature. That's All Quiet. It's winning that,
yes.
and that's where they're going to be. It's like you've won Best International Feature. Take the win.
Yeah, let's hope.
So, anyway, so let's rate this.
I think
Let's
that's it.
rate this thing. Let's rate it. It's currently sitting.
Shit. That's right. We rate these. Right now it's 7.4.
That is way too fucking low.
And I want to check the demographics real quick just to see if there's anything.
No.
Lowest demographic is females. Females under 18. Well, duh. 6.4. Highest demographic is nothing important.
No, what I think a lot of people they have
Males in the 29.
what they have an issue with is I think they got the message wrong. I think they got the message wrong. They think they see this film about all the influencers and the overprivileged, and they're like, you know what? They're doing this, and they make all this money, and you know what? They deserve everything that happens to them. And they take the message, they take it, and they just said, I don't like this.
I haven't seen anybody do that, but I hope that's not happening.
I'm saying I think that's how they're going in with their voting.
Honestly,
Because if they go in and they really break the film down, it is much higher than a 7.4.
This is also the kind of film that if you're not used to a slow burn dark comedy with that's basically social commentary, the film's gonna feel very again, it's not subtle.
Right.
Like what's happening. It's not. You have to go back and read. I mean, you can go like we did, go through just the power structures and everything that they don't talk about. But the film really telegraphs to you what's going to happen. So some audiences that aren't into the message or the acting or anything may find the film dull because of that.
True.
I can understand that.
All right.
From an amateur perspective.
So let's rate it. What are you thinking?
Oh, I would love to give it an 8.
If you wanted to talk me into a 9, I don't think I would fight you on it. I enjoyed the film that much, but I think an 8 is very, very appropriate. It's that good.
Like all of his films, they don't win me over 100. I mean, I love the film, but just as far as like I mentioned with The Square, I got the message. I liked what it did with it. But there are some points where it just drags a little bit too much, and this one is like the least draggy of them. But the island part, I was getting a little frustrated with at that point because I felt like the important stuff was happening on the boat. That's part of the message, but I wouldn't go a 9 because of that.
I'm fine with an 8
because of that, and because of the fucking rock thing. Don't fuck around with that shit. Just say what you mean. 8 it is.
True. 8 is good.
All right.
All right.
Again, lost in translation bullshit. Don't write an ending.
Wow, I can't believe we went almost an hour. But you know what? That's a tried... No. It's a tried and true review from us when we promised 30 and we end up going an hour because we just enjoy the film and we're breaking it down that much.
And it wasn't half an hour of fucking tangents.
True. I did go off a couple of times.
Wrap it up.
But all right, everybody. All right, thank you. This is episode 391 of Moviesucktastic, heading fastly towards 400. So, are we going to do anything? Probably not. So, go to our website at Movies. Maybe I'll have a new website by then. I don't know. Go to Moviesucktastic.com and download or listen to the show there. You can also go to iTunes and do the same thing. You can go to Facebook.com/Moviesucktastic and look what we post there. You can leave us email at themovieguys@Moviesucktastic.com. If you want to leave us voicemail, it's 908-514-4470. And you can do a search for us on your favorite search engine. Just do a search for Moviesucktastic. We come up everywhere. Download the Android app for your whatever device Android is giving you right now. Moviesucktastic.com/mst.apk, or just download your favorite podcast player and do a search for us. Just do a search for Moviesucktastic, and you can listen to all of our episodes for free, mind you. There are some podcasts that charge you money or a subscription to listen to all their episodes. Personally, I think that's silly, but whatever, that's me. Anyhow, do you have any words of wisdom, Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, just say no.
Just say no.
Jesus.
Just say no. All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week when we are reviewing the last 2 films in the Oscar category for Best Picture, Avatar and The Fabelmans.
Oh, we're ending on a low note.
Listen, it has to be.
I know.
It has to be. All right, everybody.
We'll be there next week.
Yeah, we'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.